Greetings, everybody. Here we go with another round of courses as you begin year 2 of your doctoral program. We'll be co-planning this course, both Janet Hennenburr and myself. We'll be working together in the planning but delivering it in separate cohorts. But we really are talking much more than human resource management. That really is a 20th century phrase, so we're talking about talent development and performance. That'll be our work as we go forward into this. As we look at session 1, our learnings is really going to be about understanding the plan, understanding how Blackboard has shifted for us, so having you spend some time there. Making sure you connect what we've learned previously to bring it forward. We'll start talking and getting into the whole talent development resource world, and then understanding what we need to do to shape our future, especially what are the boundaries around this work. So our session is going to have, again, introduction. It's going to have some time for case study and discussion. We'll take a look at the application project, finalize our plans, and then talk a little bit about that discussion posting. The norms, again, are very important, especially when we're talking about talent, making sure we know where the boundaries are. So anytime you're working with other people, making sure you set up team norms of some type. These are the ones in our program, but they're really important that you're understanding that you really value those going forward. The equity lens is an important part of our work. Hopefully you've taken that away from 749 and starting to use this on a regular basis in your world, stepping back and looking at that. We'll talk more about that as we go into it. But I would ask you to spend some time at the Blackboard site. It is a new look. It is something we're going to be consistent going forward with as far as the 7 weekly sessions on the side, which provide an overview, the PowerPoint, the research, will all be right there in front of you, as well as the discussion postings. So you'll be able to use those going forward. We'll talk about them on the first night, but that is our plan going forward. Again, the assessments, we'll make sure their application project is real, and we're going to finalize what we want to look like in that leadership project. And also at the same time, want to make sure we're advancing your personal mission, your equity focus, as well as that dissertation topic. No textbook, but a lot of reading on the side, so you'll be watching the resource pages, because that folder, I should say, because that's where the materials will be. We really want to make it an application experience for you. So again, really valuing how we work together and the power of team and the power of those discussion boards. Those are all going to be very important in our work throughout these upcoming 7 weeks. And even though we're working separately, we know that there's this cohesiveness between the two cohorts. We'll continue to grow on that. Leadership view, very important. So we bring everything forward. And this, when we're talking about talent, we're talking about people, it's pretty easy to stay in the role that we're in, but we really want to get to that next level and have that higher view that Heifetz talks about. As we look back, making sure we know that all these tools, especially in working with talent and working with people and working with resources, you have to have all these tools in play. And we've talked about many of them, including the learning principles, problem solving, the equity force there. All these things come into play as you do your work. Again, pulling back and recognizing the power of the 5 voices. Again, when you're working with people, hopefully you're putting this into application going forward now, something we picked up in the summer, but really want you to keep it going forward for your own good. Also, Noel's work on adult learning, we hope to model that going forward, but also hope that you're considering this going forward of how you engage people differently, not from a pedagogy standpoint, but from an andragogy standpoint. Personal learning communities, we've touched on those. Obviously, those are important. I think people within our cohorts will be able to bring more information on how that learning community can work together. The importance of engagement, and we've talked about this again in our 758 course, but recognizing how we need to engage people, all people, whether it's internal or external voices. Talking a little bit more about return on investment. We'll go deeper into this work, not only talent, but all of our resources we have available. Then 749, you get into the equity and excellence work and saying, how do we do that going forward? And then how do you take your work? And it's not only your behaviors, your words, but how do you take your beliefs? How do you shift those deep culture things as a leader and as you lead people? How do you continue to move that iceberg? Leadership dissertation, again, we've stepped into that work. Hopefully you've got a passion area. You started thinking about a topic, starting to talk about the so what of the topic, starting to identify possible research buckets. We'll talk more about this in our work going forward, but really want to make sure you're purposeful in growing your scholarship efforts. Your APA talents, finding out who can work with you if you aren't where you need to be to get that reinforcement piece, and where are you going with that peer and current research. So, the reality is you are well on your way to that dissertation work. This year is going to go very fast, and then come next summer, you're pretty much focused on dissertation going forward. So this is the last round of leadership and scholarship work, and then we really move heavy into just focusing on the impact, the dissertation, your extended learning. As we look at 742, again, the outcomes will go over in more detail. They're highlighted in your syllabus, so won't spend a lot of time, but really is about the people, but also how do you problem solve with these people to make it an effective experience. As we look to the future, we like thinking about this as let's how we need to change the system rather than changing the talent. And so really it's about changing the system, and that's our work, getting those arrows to align in new ways, moving us from this place of chaos and control to that soft spot right in the middle of that zone of partnership. And we'll go deeper into understanding. This is the work from Dennis Cheeseborough, but deeper understanding how we create partnerships as leaders, whether we are a leader or whether we're in the middle management leader or we're just part of the team. How do we create that zone of partnership? And recognizing that talent is just one of the forces, that we also have other resources of time, funds, and space. And how do we blend these together to maximize the talent? How do we use time? How do we use funds? How do we use space to support our talent going forward in advancing the mission? And as we look at our leadership work, we're going to go deep into understanding the role mission, the role law, the role policy, the role work agreements has to really advance all areas of talent development. All this being done in an equity lens. That equity lens is important. Again, hopefully you apply it. I really want to push you on this work of recognizing who's advantaged and disadvantaged as it relates to talent development, talent performance, and the people you're serving. So, as we look at to the future, know that Dr. Henenberger and myself will be part of this journey, and we look forward to working with you come this Wednesday. Take care, everybody.